Harry Potter finally revealed. Predator not yet revealed. In-depth interview with Jack Guarnieri.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Houston. I'm the editor of Pinball Magazine, and I'm joined by...
I am Martin Ebb, and I'm the editor of Pinball News, and Jonathan and I are here to look back at all the exciting events that took place in the month of May 2025 and the first few days of June, because we deliberately delayed this PINcast recording so we could bring you the very latest news about a new game launch, which we'll get to in a moment.
That game launch happened actually moments ago. Well, okay, a couple of hours ago, but still.
Yes. So it's sort of hot off the press, if that's still a term when it comes to pincasts. But apart from that, May was a relatively quiet month. We were kind of waiting for things to happen. In particular, the new game launch.
And lots of teasers, but not everything came through yet.
No.
And before that, don't forget, we had two big game reveals in April. Being King Kong by Stern Pinball and June by Barrels of Fun.
That's right. And those games have been showing up on location and at dealerships and at shows as well for you to enjoy. But we will get on with the news because, as we said, there's not a huge amount, but we do have as we mentioned in the headlines, an in-depth interview with Jack Guarnieri. And why would we have that interview? Well, because our main headline was about the reveal, finally, of Jersey Jack Pinball's Harry Potter game, which took place, as Jonathan said, just a few hours ago, and has kept us busy during the day. And I have to say, it was
we both, before we forget, Martin and I both wrote articles on the game. We had assets up front. And so if you want to take a close look at photos of the game and all the videos that are available right now, either go to pinballnews.com or pinball-magazine.com, and they're both at the top of the current stories.
Indeed. And there's more information coming out now and over the next few days, I'm sure, as we will find out.
Right.
But
as we mentioned, sorry for interrupting.
No.
We do have the interview with Jack Guarnieri, in which he discusses a lot of things that you will not hear or read anywhere else. Well, after it's published, of course, there's the websites that will gladly take all the info from Jack and publish that as well, and we appreciate it if you mention us. But there's a lot of info. If you want to hear it firsthand, then definitely check out the interview with Jack.
Yes, so as we were saying, the game launched in today, which is the still here, at least. It's the 5th of June. Where Jonathan is, it's now the 6th of June. But so it launched on the 5th. We were expecting it to launch earlier, in fact, in May. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. You'll hear reasons why that didn't happen in our interview. But it's basically down to not having all the assets, or not the assets, the promotional material at the quality which Jersey Jack Pinball wanted it to be. So they went back and redid some stuff, and that just delayed the launch by a little bit. And took it over into June, which has had a few little knock-on effects, which we will come to in a minute. But I have to say that the launch has been hugely positively received from what I've seen, both online and speaking to other people. I think everybody has been very impressed. I think, from my impression, is that people were trepidatious and worried that the game wouldn't live up to everything they'd hoped. Because when you take a huge, great license like Harry Potter, which has 8 movies worth of material covering 7 books, and it's so well known and such a big part of popular culture, and everybody who knows about it says, it's got to have this in it, it's got to have that in it. They thought there's no way they would ever be able to live up to those expectations. And from what we've seen so far, and these are still early days, and we haven't played it, and we haven't even seen any gameplay video to talk about yet, it seems to have fulfilled most people's hopes. Is that the feeling you're getting?
Yeah, and earlier today, or at least at noon, Jersey Jack launched this trailer video, which is probably the best trailer video for a pinball machine I've ever seen, with all the orchestral sounds that I expect are also in the game and so. I'm not even a very big Harry Potter fan. Actually, I don't think I've seen even all the movies, maybe only 2 or 3. But this really got me hyped up. Like, whoa, look at this. This game really has the wow factor, and then quadruple it,
Yeah.
It's. I texted Jean-Paul de Win, who did the animations, that I had to pick up my chin from the floor.
Oh, I'm sure he appreciated that. We should probably give a little bit of background to the game and mention that as we'd spoken to Jack about the game and the licensing of it just recently, it came as no surprise when there were indeed the 3 editions which we had spoken about before, the Collector's Edition, the Wizard Edition and the Arcade Edition, with the Arcade Edition being the cheapest and coming in at or just below the $10,000 mark. The Wizard Edition, 2,000 more, and the Collector Edition, 3,000 more than that, at 15,000, which are basically the same prices that Jersey Jack have been using for their Collector and limited editions up until now. Yes, for Avatar and the previous game. I think I was going to say. I think it's the same for Elton John.
Elton John, yeah.
Yes, I think it was anyway. And the artwork package on it is very striking. The Collector Edition has a completely different style of artwork on the cabinet. It's done by a design studio called Mina Lima, who Eric Munier, the game designer, knew about and admired their work, and got them to do the Collector Edition version of it. The Wizard Edition and the Arcade Edition share the same art package, which is probably more traditional and features one side of the game, including the evil or the dark side of the franchise, the characters, and the other side giving the good and the lighter side. So it's a game of 2 halves, as they say. Literally, if you look at the front of the cabinet, around the coin door, the left-hand side is dark, and the right-hand side is dark, cool blues and greens, and the right-hand side is warm oranges and yellows and reds. And
even on the playfields, I have to say, because the left nipple is red and the right nipple is green.
Yes,
and
that's
whole
right.
Areas,
and the back glass as well. Yeah,
that
does the same thing. It's split down the middle.
So it's a game with a split personality, you could say.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of the old Transformers game from Stern, where they had the
Autobots and
and Decepticons. Yes, one side was purple and one side was blue, but not quite as marked as that, but there's definitely a theme running through the game. And
I was very, very impressed and can't wait to get my hands on it. Aside from the photos that we've seen and the articles that we wrote, there's really not that much more to say about the game other than let's talk to Jack Guarnieri.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fine with you because he knows a lot more about getting there and the game itself. So let me give Jack a proper introduction. Today is June the 5th, and we might as well call that Harry Potter Pinball Day because, earlier today at noon Eastern Standard Time, Jersey Jack Pinball revealed their newest 11th pinball title, Harry Potter, long anticipated. a few months ago, Jack Guarnieri, I think it was at the Texas Pinball Festival, where he announced the game and he said, if you're in the market for a new game, you better hold on to your money until you've seen Harry Potter. And boy, disappoint. So welcome, Jack Guarnieri.
Thank you very much, both of you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us on what must be a very busy day for you with the launch of a new game. That's always got to be one of the busiest days of the year for you, yeah?
It's like Christmas. It really is great. People love the game, which is when you create something like this, you hope people love it, and it seems to be the case, so we're very happy.
Right, well, we spoke to you about it before and the issues of getting the license for it, and you were then saying, people had said it would be an impossible license, but if you're persistent enough, in such as you are, nothing is impossible. So, are you happy with the process that went through in order to get this game to the market and with everything that's included in it?
Yeah, no, I am very happy. I'm thrilled. I'm happy that we're at the place we're at right now, showing the game, and games are shipping and they're getting to locations and our distributors first all around the world. The whole license thing really, it's like anything else. There's a process to it, and the people were great. Everybody was great. Everybody was very attentive. They were into it. They loved it. The Harry Potter social media pages shared everything. They're truly partners, and they love what we did. And it shows in the game. It made a better game.
So for this game, right, you were dealing with both Warner Brothers as the movie company, and also with J.K. Rowling's management company as well. Is that right?
Right. And then, of course, we're dealing with ourselves, which we create something sometimes, and then we look at it again, and we say, this could be this way, this could be that way. So you have a lot of eyes on the game, not just artwork, but all the animation and everything else, sound. I think, David Thiel is, I don't want to steal his thunder, but he did more than 100 original songs are in the game, wow, as well as the original John Williams Hedwig's theme that everybody's familiar with, performed by an orchestra. Because the only way you could license the song is if the orchestra performs it. You can't license it, publishing rights, and make your own music. You can't do it with that song. Not allowed.
Right.
Okay. So that must sound great. Now you say there were a lot of eyes on the game, and you mentioned the artwork and the animation, but does it also count for the game design, which Eric did?
Well, everybody's critical of everything. Everybody has an opinion. So Eric might do something, and Eric likes it. Somebody else might like it. Somebody might have a comment. It's a big iteration process.
Okay, so just go back to the what you've actually shown today. With the three different editions. You've added the arcade edition, which we spoke about before, as being a sub $10,000.
The new standard.
Yeah, a new.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, the new standard.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask, is that a new standard, or is that something you'll do on a game-by-game basis? But also, I wanted to ask about, what's particularly interesting to me is that the collector's edition has a very different look and feel and art package to it, as created by Mina Lima. And how did that come to happen?
Well, that came about because of Eric. Eric's a huge Harry Potter collector and fan, and he knew of Mina Lima. It's a husband and wife team. They do amazing artwork, and they've done Harry Potter franchise work at the Wizarding World.
Yeah.
And they spent 2 years designing all the graphic elements for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Diagon Alley at Universal Orlando Resort, and many other things. They have stores. They have a store in London. They have a store in Chicago. They have a store in New York, I mean. So their artwork is just, you're looking at a picture at this moment of the CE game.
Yep.
But if you're standing next to the game it just knocks you off your feet. It's just stunning. And, maybe you're a fan of the movie artwork, but the playfield has the movie artwork on it. So you have all your characters on the playfield. The playfields are all the same between the three models.
Yes.
The playfield on the CE has the sparkle effect, which is, I just can't say beautiful enough. It's just strikingly beautiful. Really, really nice.
Yes, I was doing a real comparison between the CE and the arcade edition, and when I did that, first of all, I couldn't believe that essentially there was no difference at all. I actually did a process in Photoshop where you subtract one image from the other and look at the differences between the two of them, and I was expecting to see kind of mechs not there and various other elements of the game missing in one and not in the other. The only differences that came through were the sparkles. That's all. That's all I could see. I had a completely black screen with sparkles on it.
Right. Well, I was an operator for many years, and it wouldn't matter. We took out things that really don't matter for the playability of the game or the earnings of the game. So what's different? You don't have the powder coating, the color shifting powder coating. You have black body armor. Okay? No problem. You don't have art blades. Doesn't contribute to the money the game makes. You don't have a shaker motor. You don't have Invisiglass. You could always add a shaker motor. You could always add Invisiglass. You don't have a topper. Boo-hoo. You don't have radicals. You have decals instead.
Yeah.
You don't have the lighting that goes around the monitor in the back box. It's basically the way we made all of our games with one strip of lighting in the top of it. And I think that's it. I think
it's a volume control on the front. I think is also.
Oh yeah, the volume control. Thanks.
Yeah.
And the playfield is the same playfield. So if they build games, what I really wanted to was I didn't want to differentiate more things, because once you start taking things off, changes the whole game, makes it look cheap, not inexpensive, and now you have to. If you're building up playfields, you got to have a pile of playfields. For the Wizard game and a pile of playfields for the arcade game, they're all the same now. Makes it simpler in factory to put things together. So it's a better value.
And makes it easier to code as well, because you haven't got to deal with things being in one and not in the other.
And it's a better value to whoever buys it. So in a time where people are raising prices, we're lowering prices and keeping prices the same. We didn't go up on the CE game. We didn't go up on the Wizard game, which was the LE before. Well, I just decided to call it Wizard because I could, and I wanted to have everything play the same across the board, which I think is really important. So you're not getting shortchanged any model you buy.
No, absolutely, and you, as far as I can tell, you haven't limited any of these games. There's no limit on the production. Is that right?
That's right.
Right. Okay. That's the first time, though. I think, isn't it?
Probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now,
for the collector game. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to explain about the collector game.
Yeah, please
People
do.
think it's unlimited. Well, people think it's unlimited, but it's limited by the amount of time we'll accept orders for. So there'll be a time frame where we announce last call, and that's it. So it's not unlimited. We're building them to order, which is different. The difference was we didn't want to go to our distributors and say, here's your allocation. Now, let's say I allocated 50 games to distributor X, and in an afternoon or 2 days or 3 days, he sells us 50 games. He's out of business. He's done selling the product. With a license like this especially, that took me 10 years to get, why would we limit the amount of games that people want to buy? Because what happened in the past when we did sell out, there were always people that distributors had that wanted the game. Distributor didn't have a game for them. And the people got mad, and they didn't buy the LE. They didn't buy anything. They got mad, and they went away, and the distributor lost them as a customer. And we said, with this game, we want everybody on the earth and in the universe that wants to buy a Harry Potter game, they should be able to get it. So that's the way we did it.
Right, but presumably people previously saw some value in having a limited run of the games that they have. Which is fine.
I got an answer for you.
Yeah.
I got an answer for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we made about 125 standard Guns N' Roses. We made about 150 standard Wizard of Oz. We made 135 standard Pirates, I think. So those are the most rare games we ever made. How come they're not like 30, 40, 50 grand each? They're very rare. Okay, my other thing is they built 22,000 Addams families. Go find me a good one somewhere. So it's not about the number of the games. It's about the quality of the games. And the collector market, they don't care how many there are. You know what they care about? They care that they got a game.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted to make sure that they get.
So that kind of implies that you'll be taking that policy going forward with future titles.
Well, we'll see how it works out. If it blows up, a lot of people are going to say I'm whatever, and I change it. But when the facts change, we change our opinion. So, I know a lot. I'm doing this a long time. I know the market. I know the customer base. I know the product. But you can still be wrong. So, you need to try different things. And this was something different to try. And I asked our distributors before we decided to do it. And when all of them understood it, they thought it was a great idea. If there was pushback, I might have tried it anyway. But if there was pushback, I probably wouldn't have tried it. But everybody, when they realize that they're not unlimited, everything's limited except aggravation. That's what I used to say. But they're not unlimited. There's a time frame. And at the end of the time, and I personally, I'm Jersey Jack. I have to say this. I don't have to say this. I don't think you're going to see this game selling at a discount anytime soon. I really don't. It's not like any other game. It really isn't. It's a title and a property that's been long awaited, and the game itself, I think, is really magnificent. I've had one at home for 3 weeks, and I've been playing it. I got about 200 players on the game, and I love the game. And I don't love everything equally. Some things I love more than other things, and I really love this a lot.
Right. And you had people over who played the game, and they were very enthusiastic too, I understand.
I did. I had customer friends that were over today. After 1 o'clock, I think it was, the first people started coming over. And they loved the game so much, I called Eric on the phone at the factory, and I let the people tell Eric what they thought of the game. And Eric was very happy to hear that. He answered some questions for them about the wizard modes and different things in the game, and it was really good. And the whole team has been working really hard. Joe Katz, God bless him, I don't think he's had a day off since I don't know when, last Christmas, 2 years ago. But they're just very dedicated, and they wanted to make the best game they could possibly make.
Right, you mentioned earlier that games were at distributors. So, how long have you been building this game, and which distributors have the game? Are any overseas distributors will have that yet? How many? I don't want to ask you how many machines are out there, but is this something that will be able to go into a distributor store anywhere and play from tomorrow?
Yes. Tomorrow, many distributors will have the game already. We shipped games. We probably shipped about 50 or 60 games so far, really, to distributors right now. There's a show in France this weekend. Christoph has his game tomorrow morning. I'm sure he'll be on social media opening it and talking about it, and he'll have it at the show. So that's one in Europe. Phil Palmer will have one. Our German distributors will have them. All our distributors in Europe will have games, as well as Australia, South America, the United States. Everybody will have a game, and then next week, CE order games will start going out in the order that they were purchased, and we'll feather them in. If a distributor ordered 50, he might get 10. He's not going to get 50. Everything. It's like I have a watering can that can water 5 acres, and I got a 10-acre lot. I got to sprinkle things around right now. Everybody has to get something. So it's important to get games out on location so that people get to play them and see them. It's great looking at some expert player playing it. I don't play that way. I got to see the game myself, and I have to like it. And the people that came over today, I can tell you, all of them bought a game. So I wasn't here to sell games, but look, I sell games. That's what I do. So they called their distributors and they ordered games, and they want them as soon as they could get them, which everybody wants.
Right.
Okay.
Now, speaking of today, Jack, I think I got a text from you at like 5 a.m. this morning from you, and that's 5 a.m. your time, to be exact. So I assume you haven't had any rest since then. It must have been a very long day. So can you briefly walk me through the last couple of things that happened before launch and what happened at noon?
Well, it's not a very long day for me. I live for this. You plan for this. We don't run a sprint. We run a marathon. And really, some of the people in our company, said, "Hey, this is great. When it's all over, we can relax." And not really. We're just beginning right now. Now it's building the games, shipping the games, supporting the games, getting the games on location, taking care of the operators, taking care of home customers. So now this is the exciting part for me. Nobody's working on this game longer than me because of the license. The period of time I had it mentally committed in my mind that this is something that I wanted to do. I wanted to see the company do this. And it was a dream. You remember the picture I sent you with Willy Wonka in the background and Ron Weasley and the Wizard of Oz. And when the picture was taken, I only had the Wizard of Oz property, and the other two were just a dream. And I'm happy to say that dream came true because of a lot of hard work of a lot of people to make it happen. And to make a launch go the right way, you have a lot of assets that a lot of different people have control of. And while you want to trust everybody and everybody has an NDA, the ship leaks all over the place. And, I don't believe that there's anything as bad publicity. Somebody leaked pictures here and somebody leaked pictures there. I kind of wish they weren't blurry if they're going to leak pictures to show the thing, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression and all that. It doesn't spoil my launch. People wrote things like, "Oh, Jersey Jack needs a hit game." Duh. Everybody needs a hit game. We didn't make a game for it to be junk and not sell. We don't build games with a calculator. We build them with passion. I said that when I started the company. It's still true today. You can see it on our games. So you have all these different people, different entities, marketing companies and things like that, and you have things timed to go out at a certain time. Most of the time it works out. Sometimes it don't work out, but you know what? You take it as it goes, and you take it in stride, and we're not looking for people that leaked something or somebody. Everybody's excited about it. It's pinball. At least they're talking about us. It could be a lot worse if nobody cared.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, hold on. Then we have noon. The word is out. The campaign started rolling on social media. The amazing trailer video goes out, and I was really blown away. So what happened to your phone?
Oh, my goodness. My phone blew up. My phone blew up. My phone got really hot. It was at 27%. It went from about 70% to 27% in like an hour and a half. It was going crazy. It was all good. It was all good things. People congratulating us, people saying a lot of good things. The last time, one of my customer friends that just left a little while ago said, "When was the last time this many people said good things about your games at a launch?" And I had to think, and I said, never.
Yeah.
Because even with Wizard of Oz, as great as it was, as game-changing as it was, there were people that said things that were extremely negative, bordering on nasty. And, The Hobbit was its own story, dialed in. Everybody hated the name. change the name. And the next day I said, hey, maybe I'm going to change the name. No, don't change the name. We like the name. So, pinball people are pinball people. I used to say at pinball sales, they're nuts, but there are nuts, because we're just like them. We're the same thing. So it's natural to have an opinion. It's natural to not like everything that somebody does. And it's natural to try to accept criticism with a thick skin and in the spirit it's intended to be given. And we appreciate that.
Right. Well, I think, as you said, it's been an overwhelmingly positive reception. And I think probably, personally, I'd say it's the most positive reception any of your games have had up until now. So I think that's and this for a title where people had huge expectations as well. So they were pretty much basically waiting to be let down, and they weren't. So congratulations.
Somebody on the internet had a poll. Somebody took a screen grab of somebody that put up a poll. What do you expect the reveal to be today? Better than you expected, worse than you expected. It's funny. There's a lot of people thinking different ways. I've said it many times. My blood type's B positive, so I can't be negative. You can't do this in this industry, in any industry, I would say, but especially in this industry. When you put the word pinball into anything, it's like putting the word marine into something. When you do anything marine, it's always 10 times the cost because it's for a ship in the water. When you put the word pinball in, it's 10 times the effort and probably 2 or 3 times the cost because of what it is.
Well, on the subject of what it is, I'd like to actually just take it back a little bit to the licensing aspect of this game. And I mean, to me, when I first thought you had Harry Potter, I thought, well, what are you going to have of Harry Potter? Then when you say you have all the movies, I'm thinking that's a huge cast of people, and potentially a massive number of different agreements with agents and actors and movie companies to work through. But I'm not sure if that's the way it works anymore, because it used to be the case when actors and so on didn't assign their rights to movie companies when they made a movie. When you licensed these 8 movies, so 7 books, 8 movies, did all the assets and all the rights to those assets and the people's likenesses and voices and I'm guessing not the music, because that obviously has to be licensed separately. What did you get? Let me cut to the chase. What did you get when you got the Harry Potter license as far as talent goes?
So the simple answer is I got everything we needed. And the funny thing about licensing anything for our category, when you get a license, there's not like a bill of particulars or anything broken down. You have all these characters, you have these movies, these clips, this, that. You don't get anything written in a list, okay? You license a property and you go fishing and you say, I want this. And then your person or persons, they go back and they see what they have because they don't know sometimes. Sometimes I was, not this license, but on other licenses, I was told I had to license something, and then I found out from another person at the company, different company, that I didn't have to license that item. It was already covered under our license. So I spent, a month trying to get something that I already had, but nobody realized it until somebody said it, because there's a lot of different people. Unlike many companies in this segment of licensing, people come and go.
Yes.
Like in The Wizard of Oz. There are some people that at companies 20 years, not unlike other companies in other kind of categories of business, but, Disney's laying people off, Paramount does their thing, Warner Brothers does their thing. There's a lot of shifting and moving. So when you make relationships, I make relationships in every level of the company over time. And believe me, you need those relationships sometimes, because if somebody leaves and you don't know anybody, you're in trouble.
So back at square one again.
It's been something that I didn't know I was going to do years ago. I enjoy it. It's fun. It really is fun. I like the challenge. I think that's what makes it fun for me. If it was just easy and I could walk up and go get the license for, whatever it is you could pick, anybody could do it. Not everybody could get Harry Potter, and I'm proud. I'm not bragging. I'm very humble and very thankful and very appreciative. But I had a lot of competition, and they lost, and I didn't lose. And it's not to thumb my nose in anybody's face, but we make a great product, and the people that had the IP believed in our product and believed we can make the best product. And I think we did make the best product, and we represented the brand in all the movies and the characters and everything. We choreographed everything, and we made a game that is Harry Potter.
Well, I know in previous licenses, or at least one in particular, you thought you had the license, and then you've had people trying to take it away from you, other competitors.
Yeah,
anything like that happen this time around, or was once you got it with people?
I'm not going to get into it. Everybody knows publicly that there was a post by some other company, congratulating us on getting the license, and people can make what they want of that. Really, I'm going to stay out of that whole thing. There was a story about a fox with some grapes. And the fox was trying to get the grapes, and he jumped a bunch of times, and he couldn't get the grapes, so he told everybody the grapes were sour. He didn't really want them anyway. So sometimes you get that situation in business, and you just rise above it, and you keep your head up, and you don't get pulled into the negativity of what other people want you to get into. And pinball, to me, is not a negative. It's a positive. It's a happy thing. When I play my games and other games that aren't mine, I smile, I laugh, I have a good time. To me, that's what it's about. It's not about getting in the mud with anybody, whether it's a customer or a competitor or an employee or anybody, and battling about it. Life's too short. So today of all days, you should be, we all are, celebrating the launch of the game.
And so what does that mean for you now? Now the game's known. Okay, people have seen it. What's the next part of the JJP marketing strategy? Are there going to be more videos, gameplay videos, more informational videos coming out?
Yeah.
And you're going to be traveling the world selling it?
You could count on that. So there'll be gameplay videos that'll pop up, today, tomorrow, the next day. Certainly our distributors will be putting up videos and streaming and things like that, so you'll get a range of players that don't know how to play to expert players that, play very well. I will say this before I go to the travel part. The game has to be set up the right way. The back legs need to be up. The game needs to be at 7.5 degrees. That's how Eric designed it. That's how it needs to be set up. There's paperwork in the game box so that it's set up the right way. That's important. And yes, I will be traveling. I'll be in the UK. Maybe I'll see you, Martin, on the 21st.
You certainly will.
That's great. We could have some spotted dick.
Yes, I was hoping to see you over in Vöcklabruck in Austria.
Yeah, I would have been there if we had games. The timing was a little off, and Stefan, the guy's just amazing. The guy's like Superman. I don't know how he does it. I really don't know. He's got a lot of energy and a lot of passion. All my games were there. All 10 were there.
They were.
And Frank Bona sent me a text. He says, all the games are here but no Jersey Jack Guarnieri. And I said, Frank, I'll see you somewhere soon. But I'll be going there. I know I'm going to Australia soon. wherever I need to be, I'll be, like always. It's just great to look. It's, the people that came by my house, it's great to look at their faces and their reactions, and when they're playing the game, it's what I said many years ago. It's like the chef in the kitchen coming out asking the people, "How's the food?" It's just great to hear, and that's why I called Eric. I wanted him to hear from people that played the game, because basically hardly anybody has played the game outside of the company. Years ago you could bring games to a test location and put them out and observe what's going on. Today with social media, the first place I brought it to would be crawling with people that, would skew the bookkeeping and the audits and the times and everything like that. It would be kind of worthless.
I was waiting for Jonathan to pipe up with his question. I feel like I've taken up most of the time.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask, when can we expect a gameplay video? But you already sort of answered that. That should be probably in the next couple of days.
Maybe even today. Maybe even today. I don't know. There's so many things going on. I don't want to be, and I can't be involved with every single thing anymore. It's gotten so big that it's great that we have great people taking care of things.
Right. So with previous games, once the game was announced, it was also for sale in the Jersey Jack web shop. I don't recall seeing anything pointing towards the Jersey Jack Pinball web shop this time. Is there a reason for that, or did they just not pay enough attention?
No, everything in media that we put together says call your distributor, because we'd rather everything go through a distributor. The website, Jersey Jack Pinball website, that's been relaunched, and it looks beautiful and it's very functional. And we're getting more of the service elements back up there, loading them back up, code downloads and things like that. It does sell games. It does take orders. If it gets an order from an area, a geographic area where we have a distributor, we send the order over to that distributor. We're not looking to take orders away from people. But there are people that like to buy from us for whatever reason. They might not deal with the distributor near them for whatever reason. So we want people to deal with the relationship they're comfortable with. We're not getting in the middle of that and telling people you live in Stumble, Texas, and you got to deal with a certain person or anything like that. There's choices everywhere. And, just as, I don't care where they buy it as long as they buy it.
Right. Okay. There was also, the Northwest Pinball and Arcade Show is coming up, and they were supposed to be the first public events that would have the Harry Potter game, but apparently that's no longer the case, and even the appearance of the design team has been cancelled. Is there any particular reason for that?
So, like everything, it's, you got to scratch the surface. So, about a month ago, when we knew the date, we thought we would have a team to go to the show and go there with, 10 games or something like that. And the way things rolled out, because I was waiting for a video to be completed, the date just crept up on us, and it wasn't worth, knocking everybody out to overnight games at $1,700 each on an airplane to go do the show and have Eric go there and all that stuff. So we made a decision that, we're going to Southern Fried. We already made that decision as well. So we'll have everything down there. We'll have people down there. I can't be there because I'll be standing with Martin in the UK that same day. But Eric would go wherever he's asked to go, and he'll be a lot of places doing presentations and answering questions and things like that. He'll be doing that at Southern Fried. And Charlie Martin, our distributor in the area of Seattle, he will have a game at the Seattle Pinball Museum this weekend. So he has his game And if you want to play the game in the Seattle area, go to Seattle Pinball Museum starting tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. So there's still a game out there. It's at the distributor's place and not at the show.
Okay. So the games that are out there, they're not running, well, I'm assuming they are not running what will be the final code. They are still some way towards completion. I think the game code version was like 0.8. I think it was, I saw somewhere or around that number. So there's still a lot more to go into the game. That's what I take from that code version.
Right,
Is that accurate?
Accurate,
and if so, what else is going to go into it?
Well, you could ask Joe Katz what's going to go into it, because there's so much stuff that goes into it. You know, you're talking about a game that has 8 movies. When we did Hobbit, and it went from 2 movies to 3, I thought it was a lot. But David Thiel, I think I knew it, but I read it on Facebook maybe. You know, he wrote, I think I said 116 songs. And,
it's 3 times as much audio in this as there was in The Hobbit, I think. Yeah,
and The Hobbit is gigantic. So there's a lot more coming. It's not a box of lights. The name I coined when we first had Wizard of Oz. It's not a box of lights. It's a real game. And there's wizard modes in it, and it's fun to play. And it's growing every day. We don't send out a bare bones game. Other people would say this game is finished. You know, but for us, it's not finished. Not yet. Soon. Maybe it's another month and a half, 2 months, something like that. During the summer, it'll be finished. Before the end of the summer, it'll be finished.
Code-wise.
Now, speaking of...
Yeah?
Oh, okay. Well, speaking of growing, Jack, earlier today I had a brief call with Jean-Paul de Win, who did art direction of the game, LCD animations and artwork as well. What can you tell about the Dutch invasion?
It's been a blessing. I mean, there are many, many, many talented pinball people in, I guess it's the Nederlands, right?
Right, yes. Just to clarify, when you started your company, Jean-Paul de Win was hired to do the LCD animations, and he has been working on every title since. And he has also been expanding, starting working solo for you, and he has been expanding his team. So there's now 5 Dutch talents, so to speak, that have been working on this Harry Potter game. 6 if you include Jean-Paul de Win's daughter. So, hence my question.
How come we don't have you working on it too?
Can you afford me?
I don't know. We'll have to talk about it.
Okay, let's talk. I kid. No, I'd love to work for you. You know that. But
you already do. You already do.
Hang on.
In some way, I suppose.
You're playing him? We need to talk.
We're only joking. You guys are never shills for me. You're getting a hard time with a lot of things. So
We never give you a hard time.
I'm just sorry we're not in France drinking champagne, eating chocolate bars. You know?
Oh, it'll happen again.
We'll get there.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get there soon. But I just noticed the Dutch team working on your titles is growing. Hence my paraphrasing of the Dutch invasion. And I'm happy to hear that you're happy with what they're doing for you.
We love them. The time zone difference is beneficial to us. We wake up and there's all kinds of artwork submitted. And then we're ready to go to sleep, and some of them are still awake. So it's been great. Right,
I do need to ask you about what I assume you have a good knowledge of this, but what is, to me at least, the most significant mechanism in the game, and that's the moving staircase, which seems to me an amazing bit of mechanical design.
Yeah.
Are you able to tell us a bit more about that? Because I don't think from any of the videos that I've seen or any of the literature I've seen, it's really kind of explained just what it's capable of doing and how it works.
Well, there's 13 ball paths that it creates, and it creates a different shots all during the game. And people like Dan Lachek in mechanical engineering and Eric and some other people got this thing to work pretty much perfectly. You know, nothing in a pinball machine ever works perfectly. You could hit a target. You could hit a stand-up target with a ball and it scores. Next game, you could hit the stand-up target with a ball and maybe it doesn't score. Maybe you glance the target or whatever. So things don't work all the time. We need things on our games to work all the time. And we spend a lot of effort and energy to get them to that level. And there's some critical people in the company that go through testing, not just testing in a closet and you hear things clicking and clacking, but play testing to make sure they work, because we don't want to have people in our tech support inundated with calls and problems and everything like that. Look, pinball, we've said it many times, a steel ball rolling around, crashing into wood and metal and rubber and plastic, whatever, and it's trying to destroy itself, right? That's what it's trying to do. The goal of that ball is to destroy the game. So we need to make sure everything works. But that's a great mechanism that Eric created and his team. And it's a lot of fun in the game. The Death Eater is crazy. You knock this target down, you get in the Death Eater, and the target goes back up, and then all the lights flash green and different colors. And that ball comes out of there like at 250 miles an hour, and you better be prepared for it. And there's a lot of loop shots, orbit shots that you can do. Joe Katz can get things to go around 10 times. I can only get them maybe 2 times. You could do a figure 8 with the ball in this game. It's just crazy. It's different, which is great.
I really need to see this. I need more videos. I want to see all the things it's capable of. I feel like I've only just scratched the surface at this stage.
I know.
I suppose the thing is to get your hands on the machine, go to your distributor and play it.
Right. And then next week you can go to locations and play it. The week after. Right. Every week, obviously, more games are going out. So, like I said before, about building the CE first, the silly explanation is, you pay for a first-class ticket, you get on the plane first, there should be some CEs built first. So that's what we did. Now we're going to rotate CE, Arcade, and Wizard. We're going to build all 3. I don't know at the same time, but there's going to be, 100, 200 of this, 100, 200 of that, another couple hundred of this, and try to do what I said before with the watering can, like sprinkle them around.
Right.
Okay.
So, just out of curiosity, so it took you 10 years to get this license. Obviously, or at least I assume, you're very familiar with the license itself, the movies. Which brings up the question, was there anything that you were like, from the movies, from the storyline, that you absolutely wanted to be in the game that you told Eric, like, respecting, of course, that he's doing his thing, but a certain aspect or element of the game had to be in there for you?
No, I think, Eric knows the story so much better than me and many other people, having read all the books and being in the culture of the Harry Potter game and the franchise. He was the perfect designer to do the game. When I brought him to Warner Brothers in March of 2023, we had our meeting. Some people at the time thought like it wouldn't be Eric designing the game. And personally, I felt he was the only person in the company that could be the designer of the game. I mean, there are other people on the team, but he had a passion for it. And I knew, having hired Eric out of college, I knew he would make something great. And I believe he made something great. We'll see. Time will tell. But first blush, it's a game changer. It really is. It's to me, it's like when I said in Texas, it's like another Wizard of Oz. And that's what I said, and people thought I was losing my memory or something, or losing my mind, or something wrong with Jack. He said that the next game is Harry Potter, and don't buy anything until you see Harry Potter. I'll tell you what, at 11:59, nobody was buying anything. At 12:01, the whole world is buying this game. Jen is buried in paperwork. Michael Fox is buried on his computer. A whole bunch of people are, very happy that they're not disappointed, that we made something really good, maybe great, and pinball goes on. Our distributors are happy. They'll get a lot of trade-ins of different games. It's a catalyst. It's what makes sales are customers, consumers that want to buy something. That's what makes it happen. If you don't have the product, you don't have the sales. And we're giving our distributors the product. We're giving them good food. We're not giving them games that aren't finished. We're not giving them games that are stripped down, overpriced. These games are expensive. They're not overpriced. They're expensive because of all the time, millions of dollars to develop them, and all the time to build them, and all the time to support them, and transport of parts, and tariffs, and all kinds of crazy things that go into the picture, And that's what we do. We try to do our best and keep it real for our customers. We respect them and we appreciate their loyalty and their business.
I think with this title, you've actually created quite a conundrum for a number of your buyers, because they were almost thinking, well, we've got to have the collector's edition because it's the only one that's going to have everything on the playfield. And then they've come out and seen the Wizard edition and gone, oh, well, everything's on that playfield as well, and indeed on the arcade game. And then they start thinking, well, do I need everything that's in the... Well, obviously you don't need anything, but can I justify everything that's in the collector's edition? And rather than having the collector's edition being like a slam dunk, as it might have been for top-end collectors in the past, they're sort of in two minds about which edition to get. Right. And I think you've also, as I'm sure you intended, brought in a whole bunch of people with the arcade edition who thought that a Jersey Jack Pinball was out of their price range. Right. So, which is obviously a great thing to do, and get them on the ladder. So is this just something for this title because it is such a special title to have these three editions, or is it something that you think is going to be policy going forward, or is it something you can just do on a game-by-game basis?
Well, we'll see, but if it works, it's a new formula for us, and you need to do different things. You need to adjust to the market, and you need to grow your base, which I try to do with every title that we build. Mm-hmm. Wizard of Oz brought in different people to pinball than before Wizard of Oz. It brought young people and women especially to play pinball, and I knew it would, and I said, well, if you put it in a bar, every lady that's at the bar is going to be playing the game, and that's what happened. With Harry Potter, you have millions and millions of people that love Harry Potter. They don't even know that those pinball machines are still made. They don't even know what a pinball machine is. They don't know a playfield in a game from a cornfield. So we're going to get a lot of new people coming in and buying Harry Potter. The game to me, if I put my pinballsales.com hat on, this game to me says, take my money. It's just, I want it. You know, I had games like that in the past at Pinball Sales. When we had Monopoly, it was a great vanilla theme. It was good action. It was priced right. And I sold the most out of anybody in the world. It was the same when I had Pirates of the Caribbean. It was the same when I had The Simpsons. Those games, they sold. They were good games, and people related to them, and they sold. But we're trying to make something for everybody, as you could see. And it's hard to be everything to everybody, but we could try. Why not?
So what's your metric for success of this this 3-tier method of selling?
So a lot of each model. And so far it looks like that's what's going on. You know, there are people buying. We had somebody today buy a CE and an arcade edition. One for one house and one for another house. So, you know, if you have a few homes and you want to buy a few games, we'll build them for you.
Right.
You know, this game has something. Go ahead.
Well, the only thing that I'm wondering right now is you have a hit game, no doubt about it. This is a game you'll be building for a very long time. Does that mean it's going to take a long time before we see the next game?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. I mean, look, the market doesn't call for 4 or 5 games from one manufacturer. I'm sorry. I think things got overbuilt because there are many manufacturers now. It's not just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. I think you guys know better than me, there's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Maybe another guy opened up while we have this talk right now. The world really can't absorb these games. I mean, if you bought 3 pinball machines a year, maybe you decided you're only buying 1 or 2. And the 1 or 2 you're going to buy are not going to be flipper games. We're going to flip it and lose $1,000 or $2,000 or make $1,000 or $2,000. You're going to be more selective and more attentive to what you buy. And look, our hobby is not about buying pinball machines and making money off them. That's not what we do, okay, except if you're an operator. We want you to make money on your game. I mean, I sold, games years ago for $2 or $3 grand that are worth 10, 12 grand today. So the people that are in the hobby 10, 15, 20 years, and they have a collection, that collection went up exponentially. Maybe the games they bought lately haven't gone up exponentially, but the market is a different market. You know, everything goes up and everything goes down, and then it goes back up and then it goes back down. You bought the games to have fun with, to play with, to have with your friends and your family. You didn't buy them as an investment. I told people to buy Apple in 2000. If you did that, you made some money. I told them to buy Amazon in 2003. If you did that, you made money. That's a different thing altogether. It's not a pinball machine. Pinball machine is different kind of thing. If the Whitewater I sold you in 2004 for $3 grand is now worth $6 grand, high five yourself. If you bought a game and it's worth $1,000, $2,000, some games I see are $5,000 less than what they were. I'm not going to mention what they are, but we all know what they are. As they say, it is what it is. It's not a money-making investment business. We're not investment advisors. We're makers of games.
Oh, quite right too. And also, if the actual value of a machine only ever comes into it if you're cashing out, really. Because if you're buying an equivalent game or trading your game for an equivalent, that game will probably have gone up by the same amount as yours has.
Exactly.
So you won't be buying any more. You'll be buying the same level as you would have done if it hadn't gone up.
You hit it right on the head, Martin. If it's like the real estate market, the value of your home went up. You can get a lot more money than you paid for it, but you have to move somewhere. And if you're moving somewhere, chances are the price of that house, condo, whatever it is, went up too. So maybe you didn't score. I mean, if you're downsizing, it's one thing. If you're selling your games off, and there are people that go through different life changes and they retire or they pass away, unfortunately, games change hands. And, you got to hope that your wife doesn't sell you games when you're dead for the price that you told her you bought them at. That's what you got to, your friend Jerry comes over to us and says, it's too bad about Charlie, it's really, Charlie told me he was giving me that Medieval Madness for like $500. I didn't want to take it from him because, he was still playing it now, he was sick, but, I'll give you $600 for it, so I'm sure that never happens, I'm sure that never.
It'd be nice to think so. Now, I do need to ask you one more question about Harry Potter, as that's what we're talking about. Are there any? Well, it's two questions then. Are there any sort of technical innovations in this game which we haven't seen in earlier JJP games, and are we any closer to getting a sort of kind of a replacement for the score bit system, or going beyond that and having more collaborative sort of leaderboards and record keeping and achievements and that kind of stuff that's been mooted for a long time, and people were wondering whether it may turn up in Harry Potter? I'm guessing it hasn't, because I haven't seen it promoted anywhere.
Right. So your first question I'll answer last, and your last question I'll answer first. So
okay.
The answer simply is yes. We're working on it, we're developing it, and we're spending a good amount of money on it. And we're working on it. I'll say that.
You can't put a time on it then.
I'll say that. And your first question that I'm answering last is, there is something in this game that's never been done in pinball, and really any game that I've ever seen in my years, and I call it Jersey Jack Pinball Game Changer. And what it is, included with every game are 3 plastic key fobs that have a QR code on each one of them. And they represent Easy, Normal, and Wizard. And they'll be on the key ring with your keys to the game. So you could start your game, you walk up to your game, door closed, start your game, push the begin button before you shoot the ball, take one of those key fobs, let's say the Easy one, and point it at the camera, and the game reverts to Easy rules. Or the game reverts to Normal rules, or the game reverts to Wizard, which is really hard. And it's the first time ever that I know of that a player, customer, player, whatever, can walk up to the game and select the difficulty level on a pinball machine.
Yes, absolutely. And how long how long does that stick for? So you start another game straight afterwards. Does it stay in the difficulty level that you previously selected?
Every game you're going to flash the QR code, and this is something I thought about a good 15 years ago. I wanted to do this, and we were never able to do it. We were stretched very thin, and I forgot about it. Then I remembered it. I forgot about it. And a couple of years ago, I brought it up again. And really, as a surprise, Joe Katz and Duncan Brown brought it home, and they showed it to me in Chicago a couple months ago, and I was floored. I just, I could have cried because you hear from customers that, my son doesn't play very well, and, he doesn't get to see a lot of things in the game, and he gets frustrated and everything. Well, good. Put it on easy. You shoot around a little bit. You're going to get multi-ball. You're going to get to see wizard modes. You're going to get to see more things progressing and happening. And we want to stay in the Nolan Bushnell game design philosophy. Easy to understand, difficult to master. Mm-hmm. And this is something which will help build better pinball players because it gives them an option to learn the game differently, see more things, be more encouraged than discouraged. Because, operators, and as an operator, so I'm not going to say anything negative, but operators, the game comes in, They don't all update the code when it needs to be updated. They don't level the game the right way necessarily. They don't set up the game the right way, and they don't really change the factory settings based on the environment of the customer base at the location. And that's a broad statement, and it's not true for everybody, certainly. We have a lot of pinball customers, Peter Rose and other people around the country that I could think of that are very diligent and very active, downloading code updates and making sure everything's level and making sure everything's clean and working. You know, a lot of games on location, they play, but they don't work. You can play the game, but the features of the game are disabled because something's broken. And you can't get to different elements of the game that it was designed to do. So it's a challenge, but this gives you a better experience for the customer, potentially, the player, potentially. And it also differentiates Jersey Jack Pinball from everybody else because nobody else could do this.
Well, this raises a whole bunch of questions in my mind straight away. Firstly, is that QR code tied to that game? Or is it something you could take with you if you go to, on location, for instance, and see the game there? Is it something that will affect operated games? Or is it something you need to enable in your home game?
It'll work on any game. It'll work on any game.
And it's a generic QR code then, because it'll get published.
I know where you're going, but let's say the game is set for free play, or something like that. In the easy mode, you can't get it. You can't turn the game upside down. You can't have a great player play easy and like turn the game upside down. It'll know that. It won't award certain things that the player might want, like free games or something like that.
Right. Okay. So there's compensation, or it takes away some aspects of the game if you do go into easy play. But
yeah, I mean,
it's designed for a more fun, more casual play style.
Yeah, I mean, the key fobs themselves were kind of designed for. You could put them on the apron. You could double stick tape them to the apron. People could take pictures of them and use their phone to use them. You could put them on a card or something like that if you wanted to. I think that's what Christoph did for the show this weekend. He put them on cards. You could do a lot of things with it. It's just the beginning of it. I think it's going to evolve to be something bigger. I have a pending patent on it, so I'm pretty sure that we'll prevail with that, and I think it could be something great. It's something very different, and the people that I've spoken to about it, a handful of people that I told about it, they were very excited about it because they get a lot of people say, the game's too hard. The game's too hard, and you can't go in and set it easy for you and then to close the door and then come back and set it hard for somebody else.
No.
So now we got to wait for a QR code that sets a game on location on free play.
Yeah, that would be good. We could have one that open the safe in the bank next too. I would rather go for that than the free play on the game.
Yeah, I'm sure the operator would as well. Yes.
Oh well. So actually, I was going to ask about the game changer pending patents, but you just answered that and explained it very thoroughly. Thank you for that. So I guess that rounds it up for our talk to you. Thank you very much for your time. Unless Martin has more questions.
I will have a lot more questions, but I need to get my hands on the game. But so I look forward to doing that very soon. I think I'll just wrap it up and say congratulations on a very successful launch. I think, as we were saying earlier, I think probably your most successful new game launch, certainly since the Wizard of Oz, because that was I would say that was a game changer. That was an industry changer when it came out, and. Congratulations on finally bringing home 10 years of licensing negotiations and getting the game out there, and congratulations to the whole team who worked on it. And I think it looks incredible, and I can't wait to get to my hands on it.
Well, I hope you do soon, and at least on the 21st when we're together, you'll be able to play it, if not before, sooner. And I want to thank you both for everything that you do for pinball and that you do for the good of pinball and promoting it. And really to everybody listening, all the pinball community, on behalf of Jersey Jack Pinball, my partners Leonard and Brett Abbas, everybody that works for the company, we appreciate your loyalty, we appreciate your business, we appreciate you. And we're trying to build products that we can make money on, not a lot, but that promotes pinball and lets you have a fun playing pinball. And that's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to continue to innovate and make great games. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Jack.
Thank you, guys.
Well, thanks very much again, Jack, for taking time out on what's obviously a very busy day with the launch of Harry Potter for Jersey Jack Pinball, and spending some time with us to give us an in-depth look at how that game came together.
Yeah, much appreciated, and always happy to have Jack on. Lots of insights that you don't usually get anywhere else.
Yep, if anybody knows the answers.
We dare to ask those questions.
Yes, we're
right.
very, very much appreciative of his time. Now, one thing we didn't mention.
There is more news. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so one thing we didn't mention in the interview with Jack was that our contact there and contact for other media people as well, Ken Cromwell, he has just left Jersey Jack Pinball. He's been there for about 5 years, I believe. And
5 years, yeah.
Yeah, and he, I believe he wanted to move on to pastures new and into a more sales-orientated role. And in that regard, he has joined Flip It Out Pinball. So Zach Lenny there, and where he will be doing exactly that, I believe. So it didn't come as a total shock to Jersey Jack Pinball. They kind of given them good notice.
Plenty of notice. Yeah.
Just the timing of it was arranged such that he would leave at the end of May, by which time Harry Potter should have launched. But of course, Harry Potter was delayed, and it just so happened that he had left a couple of days before the game did launch. But
so
a huge amount of work
pure coincidental. Yeah.
It
was all scheduled, and
there was no ill feeling or anything about that. It was just time to move on.
No,
and
the door is still open for Ken if he wants to come back.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, at least until they appoint someone else, which they haven't done yet. Then it could get awkward.
But we do wish Ken all the best at Flipping Out Pinball.
Absolutely. Big success.
We expect to see him at pinball shows in the future as well, and it's always nice to see him.
It is, yeah. So I think with that, is there any more news from Jersey Jack Pinball?
No, I guess that rounds it up.
I think that's it. No, it's been in what's a landmark month for them with the launch game. 11.
Congratulations on the entire team for the Harry Potter game. And
absolutely. So we move on to our second headline, which was about a lack of a game launch. Now you can kind of understand why that might be, but what we are of course talking about Pinball Brothers, based in Sweden. And they have an upcoming game which they have formally announced as being based on the Predator movie. So that's almost a companion piece to Alien, because there was, of course, Alien versus Predator. Whether there will be an Alien versus Predator pinball, we don't know yet. But we do know that Predator...
Pinball Brothers would be the company to do it.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? Yes, so we know it's coming out, but it hasn't been announced yet. We don't know whether there was any desire to not launch against Harry Potter, which would be quite understandable if that was the case. But they have been putting out lots and lots of teasers on social media. And I think they've been getting a bit of kickback on that, and people are just saying, just show us the game already. You know, it's we've been teasing it for long enough, and let's see what you actually got to show us, because I have been teasing with quite a lot of images, one blurry picture of the playfield, and some details, well, very few details about the game itself, including that it's what's a wide body game, did we say?
Yeah. So okay. That's what we know. I did reach out to Daniel Jensen, the CEO of Pinball Brothers, and he came back to me earlier today, saying that he's busy in the development cave, so to speak. He didn't have much time to come on or anything. Basically the only newsworthy thing that he mentioned is that things will become a lot clearer next week. Make of that what you want, because that doesn't necessarily mean that we will see a reveal next week. It could also be that we get a date for the reveal at another date.
Perhaps that blurry picture will become a bit clearer next week.
That could also be the case, yes.
Okay, well, yeah, let's hope we get to see what they've been working on with Predator before too much longer, because I think people are getting a bit impatient.
Right.
I am.
I just hope they have the game ready, and if Daniel still is in the development cave, then I'm a little bit worried that the game might not be as finished as people are expecting it to be. So just hoping that that's not the case, and that they do have the game ready to be revealed, so to speak.
Yes, good. Okay.
I guess we'll be reporting on that announcement or the reveal in our next episode.
We will indeed. Well, whatever it was they came out with.
Right.
Okay, so I think that's it for Pinball Brothers up in Sweden. Let's head over to the US and to Barrels of Fun Pinball in Houston.
Yes.
And you may remember that last month, and I think even the month before that, we reported on a program that Barrels of Fun are running for existing Labyrinth game owners, where they could enter their name into a prize draw in order to win a brand new copy of game number 2, which at that point hadn't been revealed as being Dune, but now we know it is. And that's indeed what happened. So registered owners could sign up, and they would get one entry into the draw, and the lucky winner of that draw was a chap called Michael Lai from Forney in Texas, who did indeed win himself a brand new Dune game.
Okay, now, well, congratulations to Michael.
Yeah, and but if he didn't win this time, then there is still hope, because when they are ready to launch game number 3, everyone...
Which will take a while.
Well, yeah, take a little while. When they are registered, if you are registered with them, with either your Labyrinth or your Dune game, then you will be entered into another draw to win game number 3. Right. And if you are fortunate enough to own both games, then you get 2 entries into the draw, which is part of... Yeah, it is a nice
program.
Yeah, it's a part of what David Vaness has been describing as their sort of family of Barrels of Fun game owners that they like to engage with and reward for their loyalty in owning the game. So, and just to stress, you don't need to be the original buyer of the game. You just need to be the person who is owning the game at the time of the entries into the draw.
Yeah, I do wonder, how does that work? Because let's say I own a Labyrinth game now. Mm-hmm. I register my game. I sell it off. Somebody else registers the same game. Then what happens?
Well, I think there'll be a window where you register your game for the draw. So if 2 people register it at the same time, then it becomes more complicated.
Right.
But assuming you're not registering a game you don't own anymore.
No, but you could have already registered it So, oh well.
Yeah.
Not our problem.
No,
anyway.
not quite. Yeah.
So, and I understood Barrels of Fun also attended the licensing show in Las Vegas.
Yeah, David, I think it was David, or it would have been Brian, but I think it was David, did a short walkthrough video of the show, which didn't look hugely interesting, I have to say. But I guess if you're not looking for particular licenses or themes or trends, then it's probably, not that interesting.
Right.
But I guess they're working on picking up new licenses for games that, for Barrels of Fun's case, going to be, game number 5, 6, and upwards, because they've already got game 3 and 4 and possibly 5 already in development.
Yes.
Yeah,
true.
so they already know what those are going to be, assuming the licenses don't fall through for any particular reason. But
it's always good to at least show your face at these events and mingle with these parties to build a relationship, So
absolutely.
Even if you're not getting a license now, you might get one in the future, and at least you know which face belongs to what name.
Yeah, and keep in touch with the companies that you do have licenses with or from.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in case, as Jack was saying earlier, in case some of the personnel changes of those companies, and if the more people there that the easier it will be to keep that relationship you just spoke about going.
Right. So, and speaking of David Vaness, you ran into David in Austria.
Yes, indeed. I was at the European Pinball Championship in Austria, held in Bocklerbruck in the centre of, towards the centre of the country, which was an amazing event. And David was there, as was his family, his wife and kids, and they were doing a bit of a European tour. And as one of those events, David came to the EPC and did a seminar on the making of Dune, which I don't think I've seen him speak about the making of Dune. It's fairly recently launched, so that could well be the first time you will see behind-the-scenes development pictures and information about how that game came to be. And obviously, if you weren't there, you would have missed out. But fortunately, I was there, and I was recording it all. So you will find a recording of David's presentation on the Pinball News YouTube channel, and shortly on the Pinball News website in the show report, which I am currently working on, but was delayed a little bit by a certain game being launched. I could say today, but it's now yesterday. So we'll be catching up and bringing full details of that show and David's seminar, as well as all the other seminars that took place at the EPC, which there were 5 in total. But there was more from David, because he didn't just do the seminar, he also did a signing for pinball flyers, pinball translite, posters. So he was on the stage signing these things to people who wanted them, and there was quite a queue of people. And not only that, on Saturday night he ran a couple of what's called barrel ball tournaments. Now, if you're not familiar with barrel ball, you might be more familiar with something called stall ball. Well, that works on the basis that you have a game and a whole bunch of people sign up to take part in the tournament. They form a line. The person at the front of the line walks up to the machine, flips the ball, tries to lock it in either in a ball lock or a saucer or a scoop or something like that. If they do that, then they leave the machine and go to the back of the line to play again. However, if you drain the ball, then you're out of that tournament. Yeah, that's you done. So, as you can see, it could be like just 2 or 3 flips, and then you're either out or you're back to the back of the line.
Yeah.
So the line moves fairly quickly.
Yeah. So and eventually, there's only one player left who wins.
That's right. That's stall ball. Barrel ball is a slight twist on that, because obviously none of the games which you might play straw ball on are designed for it, whereas Labyrinth actually is designed for barrel ball. So it does it slightly differently by lighting for certain shots, and you have to make those shots in order to keep going in the tournament. If you make one of the red shots, which you're not meant to shoot, then you're out. So you don't have to drain, but same kind of idea, and that's built into the Labyrinth software. So it's a nice, easy, and fun tournament or competition to run either at a show or at a family get-together. So I think it's good fun.
Okay, very nice to hear. I'm looking forward to playing barrel ball at one of the future events that I will be attending.
Yeah, it's I say it was so easy to run that I think there are about 3 tournaments held just on Saturday night. So it moves quickly. It looks a bit daunting at first. You see this huge line of people, and we do this at the UK Pinfest show as well. Mm-hmm. It's the line snakes all the way around the building, or around the hall, I should say, on like 3 sides of it. But once it gets going, you're soon either going back to the end of the line or you're out.
Right.
So yeah, good fun. Anyway, everyone enjoys it, and there's a nice prize for the winner.
Okay. So did you happen to talk to David at the event?
I certainly did, and in fact, I took the opportunity to have a little sit down with him and have his take on the latest edition of our What's Cooking With feature. So David's going to give us his favourite dish, or a very easy to make dish, I should say. And so let's go back to Vöcklabruck in Austria and find out from David. So today we're joined by Chief Mischief Maker of Barrels of Fun Pinball, Mr. David Vaness. Hello, David.
Hello, man. How are you today?
Oh, very good, thanks. Looking forward to your recipe as we find out what's cooking with David Vaness.
Yes, well, I'm happy to share what we used to do in Australia, and we still do it today in the offices at Barrels of Fun.
Wow, yeah, please do. How can people cook this or make it up?
Make it up? Yeah. Well, it's really, really complicated, Martin. So what you're going to have to find is the thickest white bread that you can. It has to be really nice and thick and light and bouncy. Right. You're going to get some margarine. Okay, but not butter, we want margarine because we want it spread nicely. Okay. So you're going to take your white piece of bread, you're going to put margarine on it, and then you get the most special ingredients, hundreds and thousands.
Right.
So this is what we call in Australia fairy bread. So it's called fairy bread. And
colours.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we always would, when I'm in America, they will go, what do you like? I'll say fairy bread. And they always think how complicated it is. So they're really curious of what it is. And then I bring out fairy bread. So you sprinkle on your 100,000s on your bread, and you got to cut it into triangles, and you fill that plate up. Now, the history of fairy bread is it basically comes from the older times, the generations where people didn't have a lot of money, and it was very simple to make.
Yes.
And it was always served at kids' parties. So even to this day, people of my age, you go to their birthday parties, they will have fairy bread there. And 9 out of 10 times, that's the first thing that goes, because people just enjoy fairy bread. And that's something that we even to this day, we celebrate at the factory every month, we celebrate everyone's birthday in the factory. So when it came my birthday for the first time, everyone was there. I had fairy bread, and for a week we teased them. What are we going to do? We're going to do fairy bread. What's that? And for some reason, I don't know why they didn't Google it, but we eventually brought them fairy bread, and they were like, "Really? That's it?" And when they had it, it was gone literally in minutes. So it's just one of those things. It's really, really simple, but it's a very Australian thing to do, and we love having it.
Great. Well, it certainly sounds like something we should all be trying out. So get your fairy bread made up and let us know how it went. So thank you very much, David.
Thank you, Martin.
Well, thank you very much again, David, for doing that, and it was good fun. And yes, if you want to make that particular meal or snack, then obviously very easy to do. I don't think Jonathan's a big fan of margarine, though, are you?
No. Butter or margarine's not on my toast or bread or whatever. No.
Right.
But okay. I'd love the sprinkles and so.
Of course, yeah. Okay, well, a nice easy one to make, and seems to be very popular at the Barrels of Fun factory.
Right.
So, speaking of which...
Well, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you remember a couple of months ago we reported on the fact that Barrels of Fun had introduced their version or their take on the or anti-reflective glass called Infinity Glass.
Right.
Well, there's a chance to actually win some Infinity Glass for yourself, although you have to jump through quite a few hoops in order to be in with a chance of doing it, which might mean not that many people enter, so your odds of winning might be better.
Right. So basically, I've looked at this. There's a post on the Barrels of Fun Facebook and probably also Instagram and all the other socials. And that has to be, or you have to at least share that and or post a photo or story with the hashtags Labyrinth Love or and June Pinball and Infinity Glass Challenge to show your fandom favorite moments or dream game room setup. And then eventually 5 fans will win some exciting prizes, which include a free piece of Infinity Glass and surprise goodies from the Barrels of Fun vault. So, but like you said, quite a few hoops to jump through. But then again, that could also mean everybody's backing down or out, and you're one of the few entering. Yeah,
I like those odds. Yes. But yes, it's a bit of work. As we'll see later, there's some easier competitions you can enter to win prizes from pinball manufacturers.
Right. So, and then last but not least, from Barrels of Fun.
You may remember a while ago we reported on a series called Tested, hosted by a chap called Adam Savage, and he did a program about the making of the Labyrinth game. Mm-hmm. Well, it was a big success, and he has gone ahead and done the making of video, and this time about the June Pinball at Barrels of Fun. So if you go to YouTube and search for Tested and Adam Savage, or search for Barrels of Fun Pinball, you'll find that, and you can watch and see exactly how June Pinball came to exist and how they build it.
Right. Okay. Well, that sounds interesting. I might have to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
And that does round it up for Barrels of Fun Pinball. I suppose we should definitely not forget about that big manufacturer in Elk Grove Village, Stern Pinball. You might have heard of them. There's some news.
Rings a bell.
Some news from them as well. Although nothing big. Obviously, we had the King Kong reveal last month, which is the game they're currently building. So the most notable news from Stern Pinball the past month is that the Mandalorian is going into the Stern Vault, meaning no more production for at least 2 years. That does not mean that they will not have any games left in stock that might not become available for sale, but still, it's not going to be on the production line. No. Maybe not a big surprise. I don't think the theme is as hot anymore as it was when the game came out. And the license probably expired by now.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah, I don't think they can be making any more series of The Mandalorian, at least as far as I'm aware. And it's kind of slipped out of public consciousness for the moment, as attention's moved to a different part of the Star Wars franchise. Right. So, wouldn't expect to see that back in production certainly not for 2 years, but probably not even after that. Right.
Okay. So, onto a more recent game, although not entirely, but then again, yes and no. Oh well. We're talking about a Metallica remaster, which is actually a game you can win if you register on Stern's email list between April 19th and June the 30th. for a chance to win Metallica Remastered Premium. If you're already on the list, you need to fill out the form to confirm your email. And if you want a bonus entry, then log into Stern Pinball Insider Connected app during the promotional period of April 19th to June 30th.
Great, I'm in.
Yeah, no, you're not, because it's for U.S. residents only.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I'm so sorry. I know you wanted this game so bad, you wanted to win it.
Oh. Well, it's not that. I didn't want anybody else to win it. That was the key thing.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Oh, US residents only. Oh,
yeah,
that's not fair.
Too bad for all those overseas loyal customers that never get a chance to win anything.
Yeah, sounds dodgy to me, but okay, fair enough.
Right.
It's their game, their rules.
Right, okay. Now, speaking of rules, you have probably got some code updates from Stern.
Oh, have I? Have I? Oh, yes, I have, yes. Yes, 4 games got updates in the month of May. Venom started off getting 1.06 of code, which just added some new lighting and shaker motor effects and a few tweaks to achievements. Metallica Remastered, we were just talking about that, gets version 1.01, so just above version 1, which added you remember we've spoken before about how Stern's service menu has always been sort of based on the old dot matrix display, and it looked very archaic. Well, with King Kong they upgraded that to have a full graphical user interface, and they've started rolling that back into some of the older games. And Metallica Remastered, not exactly old, but it's now got the full service user interface. They took the opportunity to also change some of the rules and fix some of the bugs in it. Dungeons and Dragons, not the current title, but the title before that also got the new service menu user interface in version 0.9, and which added over 40 new achievements for those of you who care about that. Also added a new cutscenes gameplay mode, which allow you to view all the cutscenes in the game in one go, if that's of interest to you. And we might find some there you didn't know existed, because you haven't got that far through it yet, so there's an opportunity to watch them. Changed some of the rules, including the main Dragon multi-ball rules, and some tweaks to gameplay and scoring. But they also came out with another update on the 27th, so 19 days later, which added 3 new Dungeon Crawl awards and changed more of the rules and added some more new sound effects to it. Finally, King Kong, which is the current game, came out with version 0.82, so still fairly early code, on the 15th of May, and as you expect for early code, they were changing a lot of things in this one. So they changed the gameplay, added and changed some of the rules, lots of bug fixes, lots more call-outs, sound effects, light shows, shaker effects, and a new bunch of high-score table entries to give you more of a chance of seeing your name on the screen, at least your initials. And that is the code update for Stern Pinball in May 2025.
Right, okay. Well, I wouldn't say next door, but close enough. American Pinball, just to stick around in the US for a little bit.
Yeah.
I heard there were some good deals on American titles in Memorial Day sales, especially Galactic Tank Force. American Pinball was offering the game for slightly under $8,000, but there have been Galactic Tank Force signature editions new in box for sale even at $7,000. So, and in the UK,
mighty tempting.
Yeah, and in the UK, you could get it just under £8,000, including 20% VAT. So, and on the same subject of Galactic Tank Force, Dennis Nordman reported on his Facebook that they, which is probably Paul Reno and Dennis, sold out all their Galactic Tank Force games, which resulted in me assuming, and you know what happens when you assume things. But I figured, I believe Dennis was suing American Pinball for unpaid royalties that he was supposed to be getting for the design of Galactic Tank Force and other games that never saw the light of day. Seems to me that American Pinball may have struck a deal with Dennis and paid him in the form of a bunch of games that Dennis had to sell of himself, which he did. And Dennis ended his post saying that, well, while they sold out, American Pinball may still have some, as we just mentioned earlier on.
Which I was selling them in the Memorial Day sale.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, although obviously Memorial Day is over for this year, there's very likely to be similar discounts available on those games for other memorable public holidays in the US or in global ones.
Yeah, or even because it's Wednesday.
Oh, I like the sound of that sale. Yes. Okay.
So,
well then.
And no news from American Pinball regarding the third-party manufacturing offer that they're currently offering, so to speak, for upstarting pinball companies that are looking for a partner. So, no news regarding that, but well, we still hope to hear from American Pinball. And the same goes for the development/reveal or announcement of Cuphead, which is the game that is almost ready to go, but well, we're still waiting for them to actually give it a go.
Yeah, I think I can probably confirm now that was the next game, or will be maybe even the next game, as I think it's pretty widely known by now, and has been confirmed by the people working on the game. But it's whether they're also picking their time to announce it around once the big beasts of King Kong and Harry Potter are out and launched, like some other companies.
Right. And Predator.
And Predator, yeah. Well, yeah. But let's see. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So let's head back to your neck of the woods and Dutch Pinball, who are also at the represented at the European Pinball Championship with their 3 games from Bryder Pinbot, Lebowski, and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Their Dutch Pinball exclusive title. Yeah. And there's some news from them.
Well, yeah. The news is mostly they're building their Alice's in Wonderland games. The news regarding Dutch Pinball has mostly to do with the potential 50% tariffs on European goods sent to the US, which will trying to find the right word. Start at the 9th of July, this 50% tariff increasement, which is probably not enough time for machines to ship by sea and clear customs by that date. So that's a bit of a risk to ship games if they would have been ready already. So, but then again, the whole tariff situation is a situation that might be completely different tomorrow from today. So it's probably best to wait for negotiations to begin and see where they end up with. And Dutch Pinball, well, that's the only news from Dutch Pinball, but Dutch Pinball is not the only one facing tariff problems, because we also have Wonderland Amusements, who announced their Alice is Going to Wonderland game, funded by a Kickstarter campaign, which was heavily funded. I think they got 5 times more than what they were aiming for, but they are building their games in Hong Kong, which is China. And Chinese products, well, as of whenever we looked this up, let's put it differently. They came out with a statement saying, as of today, our product category is facing a 145% tariff on Chinese import. That said, we're still months away from needing to file our import paperwork, and this is a fast-moving situation. Most analysts believe one or two things will happen before then. A, the overall tariff will be reduced closer to the lower rate most of the rest of the world faces, or B, amusement machines like ours will receive a carve-out or reduced rate, as has historically been the case. As we have previously stated, it is our intention to pay the tariff amount and not shift that burden to backers. In the worst case scenario, we may opt to hold shipments at our factories temporarily while we wait for this to settle. Many industries are lobbying hard for some relief before the holiday season is impacted too dramatically. Know that we are monitoring developments daily, just like everyone else in our shoes.
Yes, so they may end up doing the same thing that Dutch Pinball are, and holding shipments to the US. But in the case of Wonderland Amusements, I think you could only buy the game, you can only back it through Kickstarter if you were in the US. So all the machines are going that way. So if they hold it temporarily, that temporary duration is an unknown amount and an unknown time, and could be years. You know, if no deal is ever reached, I believe some kind of reduction in that tariff has already happened, but as they say, it's a volatile situation, and no one really knows what's going to happen.
Right.
So,
they
have to wait and see.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we all do.
And then we will report on it.
Yep, we certainly will. Okay.
So, how about Spooky Pinball?
Well, a little bit of news from Spooky Pinball. Spooky Luke and Morgan Emery from Spooky Pinball were guests at the European Pinball Championships in Bocklerbruck in Austria. They were supposed to be holding a seminar and talking about what's going on in that Spooky Factory, and some behind-the-scenes views. But unfortunately, they both got a little ill. They've been travelling around Europe, and I think have been in Italy recently before they came to Austria, and were not well enough to do that. So they did attend the show, signed some autographs, did a signing session on the table, and chatted to fans of spooky games, but didn't stay around long enough to do a seminar. So unfortunately we didn't get to hear that, and you won't be able to watch it, which is a shame, but never mind. They hope they enjoyed their trip to Austria as much as everybody else there did, and I'm sure they were impressed by what they saw. Now, for the EPC, the organiser Stefan Riedler had the entire lineup of spooky pinball games, all the way from America's Most Haunted up to the very latest game, The Evil Dead. Not The Evil Dead, Evil Dead, I should say. With every game in between, including, I think, games like Domino's Pizza and the Jetsons, through Scooby-Doo and Halloween Tunes. And games like that. Looney Tunes, and Ultraman as well. So both versions of that game there. So a part of a very impressive lineup of machines at that show. Now, we mentioned Evil Dead. Some new code for Evil Dead came out on the 16th, which added Cheryl Multiball, and added a new Linda trick, because she tries to trick you with various changes to the gameplay. Well, this latest one reverses the flippers, which is always good for a laugh. And there are also some rule and scoring changes, and a few fixes to bugs. Not that bug, bugs in the game code. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And that's it, I think, for Spooky.
Okay. I got some news from Andrew McBain from Pinball Adventures.
Oh,
you may
tell.
Yeah, you may remember them. They're, I think, the only Canadian pinball manufacturer, although their first game, Punny Factory, I believe only had a very small run, and the development of their next title, Elements, is taking years. Can't make it any better. Well, they sent out, or Andrew sent out a message to, well, I believe, several media outlets, but I happen to be one of them, and I'll just read it out loud, so you get it sort of straight from the horse's mouth, if that's an appropriate expression.
It'll do.
So, an update from Pinball Adventures, Elements, Progress, and what's next. Now, here we go. Hi everyone, apologies for the delay since the last update. As you can imagine, we're running several businesses. The ones bringing in the most revenue tend to take priority. I'm sure many of you can relate. So where are we with Elements? We're just waiting on a few more parts to arrive for our boards to complete final testing. We hope that will wrap up this week. The cabinets have all been modified and now include a new rail system that makes lifting the playfield much simpler, something we think most users will really appreciate. We redesigned the back box with high-quality adjustable hinges and added metal accents above and below the large display screen. These elements, no pun intended, will be powder-coated in a unique finish to represent the theme of the game. It is going to stand out. All rules, music, voiceovers, and video clips have been finalized and implemented. The unique feature allows players to play their own music in the background, personal touch we think people will love. We've made some final changes to the artwork and text on the playfield to make it pop more visually. You'll see what we mean in the photos we've sent over. Actually, I only received one and it didn't stand out to me. All ramp side rails and metal guides will also be powder coated, giving the game a rich medieval look that complements the theme beautifully. If all goes according to plan, we're aiming to showcase gameplay by the end of next month, which would be July, I think. As always, metalwork, woodwork, and art take time, but we're getting close. The game will be priced at around $8,000 and will only be one edition produced. We're limiting production to, pay attention, 3 to 4 units per month on a first come, first served basis. We're also about 80% finished with our next game, Sushi Madness, and we hope to share gameplay footage in the coming months. Stay tuned. So all that news for 3 to 4 games built in a month, if ever.
Yeah. Yes, if it ever happens, which certainly hasn't happened so far.
Yeah.
And assuming they get the orders for the games.
Yes. Now, you played Elements, or at least the prototype of the game. You were very excited about it. So there is potential there, but if, let's say they get 80 orders and you're at the end of the line and they're building 3-4 games a month, you'll be waiting months for... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's 2 years.
Best part. Yeah. Well, I probably ought to be waiting 2 years to place the order. Oh well. Never mind.
So anyway, well, that's the news from Pinball Adventures, and we wish them all the best. And of course, well,
they're in a good position to take advantage of pinball sales into Canada.
Yeah.
If tariffs make American games too expensive.
Right. So,
but they need to get their act together and get moving quickly.
Yeah, well, the quickly part is something that we haven't seen from Pinball Adventures yet. So, and
no.
I wish them all the best, but we really need to start seeing games, I think. But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, well, let's move to another company who has been producing games, and that's Hexa Pinball over in France. Not much news from them. This, other than the fact that they have been celebrating the 3rd anniversary of the team starting the company.
Right.
So they are now, we are 3. You know, they can claim 3 years in the pinball business. Still only one model though, with Space Hunt. But people seem to like it. People who play it seem to like it. It just doesn't seem to get out there very much.
Right.
And it's a shame, because it should do. But still, it's getting good traction within France, where it's appearing at quite a few local shows, but not appearing in many in the US very much, or any of the big events.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless someone happens to take one like they did at Pinball Expo, where Rob Burke took his own Space Hunt game there.
Right. Okay. So, and there's a little bit more news. They will be attending, I think it's called the Southwest Pinball Show in France.
Right.
I saw an announcement on their Facebook timeline. So they'll be showing off their game over there as well. So if you happen to be in France and attending that show, then you get the chance to play Space Hunt too.
Okay. Let's move to another, even more recent startup. Hexa, only 3 years old. Ramps Pinball, less old than that.
Oh yeah, much. Well,
yeah.
So, and what's the news?
Well, no news. They were supposed to launch their road trip game in April. You can kind of understand why it may not have been the best time in which to launch a new game. What with several
King Kong and June coming
titles.
out, and Harry Potter
and Harry Potter all about to launch, and no particular date given. But Road Trip, which is their first title, seems to have gone missing in action at the moment. There's no updates on any of their social media feeds or details of what they've been working on in the meantime when it hasn't been launched. So I hope that's still in development and going to see the light of day.
Right.
So we'll bring you any news on that as and when we receive it.
Yeah. Okay. So then, we have Homepin in Taiwan, manufacturer of the Blues Brothers, which is their current title. There's basically no news. I did reach out to Mike, asking about what the current situation is, and he told me he had been putting out many fires for a month or so, and is also catching up with numerous loose ends around the place that need his attention. That sounds familiar if you're a small business and you have to wear a lot of hats, so it's not surprising. So that's the latest from Homepin, and that's all I have to report on that. So.
Okay, well, no real news from them, but we now have a bunch of companies where we have literally no news at all, despite having
okay,
research.
So we're just going to list them quickly to round this up rather fast, if possible.
Okay, so we'll start with...
no news from...
Pedretti Gaming, or...
Pedretti Pinball, whichever you prefer. Yeah. And there's also no news from...
Multimorphic.
Okay, we're still waiting on the start of the build of Portal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Yes, just thinking today that Portal, another game featuring the voice talent of Mark Silk, right. Along as we just seen today's launch of Harry Potter, also features Mark Silk.
Everybody wants to work in pinball.
It does, yeah. That's right.
Okay, and then there's also no news from
Turner Pinball.
Right. They have their medieval arcade game, which...
Merlins, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, Merlin's arcade game, which actually got quite a good response, I have to say. When
those who played it, anyway.
Yeah. I think Turner Pinball have applied for a registered trademark regarding that game. But that's all the news that I came across. So then, also no news from
Chicago Gaming.
Well, that's not surprising.
Nope, certainly not.
Despite promises to share more news, that ended rather quickly. But they're still building games, so let's let them build games, and that's we'll see. No news from
Vector Pinball in Australia.
Okay. I have nothing to add to that. And speaking of Australia, is there any news from Haggis Pinball?
No news at all. Checked on them as well.
Okay. And who else do we have? No news from?
No news from Victronic in Spain.
Okay. How about Cardona Pinball in the US?
No news from them either.
Okay. How about STR Pinball in Spain?
Let me check. No news from them either.
Okay. Quetzal Pinball in Spain then?
Well, funnily enough, you should mention that because there's no news from them either.
Okay, last but not least, did you have any news from Circus Maximus?
What do you think? No. It's been 8 years since our last update, so it's probably time that we call it a day with Circus Maximus. I don't think they're ever going to mention their Python's Pinball Circus game, and
the Kingpin either.
That game, no, or Kingpin, no, which was supposed to be funding Python's Pinball Circus development.
Yeah.
So no, if that game ever gets made, I don't suppose it will be them that makes it.
Right. Okay. Any other news?
Well, I've already mentioned about the EPC in Austria, so we won't go into that too much more. Should mention there's a chap called Kirk Hobbs who wants us to correct a fact that we reported from the Texas Pinball Festival as to exactly who it was who asked Jack what the next game title would be. We reported it was Stefan Riedler, and Jack confirmed that it was, but apparently it wasn't. It was Kirk himself who got in touch over the internet and asked this question. So sorry, it wasn't Stefan, and it was Kirk, but that's now corrected. So there you go.
Okay, and that rounds it up for our recap of the Pinball Industry News for May 2025, and our exclusive interview with Jack Guarnieri and your What's Cooking with David Vaness.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we have quite a lot of stuff, considering there's very little happening apart from the launch of Harry Potter. But anyway, we will be back at the start of July. Can you imagine that? The start of July with our next PINcast.
I can imagine.
Where we look. Yeah, well, you have to. Looking back at all the events in the pinball world throughout this exciting month of June. So, until then, from me, Martin Ayer of Pinball News.
And Jonathan Houston of Pinball Magazine.
We hope you have a really joyous June, and we look forward to joining you again next month for the very next edition of the Pinball Industry News PINcast. So, bye for now.
Bye-bye.